Hi folks, I want to do a video where I share the progress of this Northern White Cedar Primo. This video was prompted by a couple viewers that wanted me to talk more about this tree. So I have my photos here. I highly recommend, if you don't take pictures of your trees, that you do it. Kind of like puppies or humans, when you see them every day, they don't seem to change much often, but then over the years you can see a lot of change. So it's a lot of fun actually to look back at the pictures and see how this tree's changed. And it's changed quite a bit over the years. My first picture I have it is in August 2022. I got this tree in the spring of 2022. It was in a gallon-sized nursery container. I think it cost about $40. And I didn't have a clear vision for this tree when I got it. This first styling that I did, I just remember I kind of pruned it into a triangle type shape and bent some of the branches down and took out some of the branches, the largest branches. One thing I did that I recommend you don't do, and that is, number one, don't work on the top of the tree and the bottom of the tree at the same time. I took off quite a few roots and I reduced the top, but not too much. As you can see here from this first picture of it after its first styling, I left a lot of branches on, so I think it maybe worked well. So maybe you can work the top and the bottom at the same time, but I wouldn't do anything drastic. Just don't take off too many branches, don't take off too many roots, just do it gradually. Second piece of advice that you shouldn't do, and that is wiring it in the spring. So I wired this tree in the spring, and when I did that, I slipped some bark on the branches. So you can see here in the next picture in October 2022, where one of these branches is missing, and at the time it was kind of a major branch that I thought, like a defining branch. So I was actually really upset to lose that branch. It's really easy to damage the bark and damage that cambium layer when you wire in the spring. So I'd wire it in like late summer. Now is probably fine. I'm gonna probably do a little bit of wiring on this tree here shortly, and the fall and winter is a good time to wire these trees. So you can see here it is in now January 2023, and the color of this tree changes quite a bit in the winter. It loses a lot of that green color, and that's nothing to be concerned about. That's really normal with Thuja. They become a lot less green in the winter. This tree definitely becomes a lot less green. That part of that's because my winters are quite cold, but this tree is well adapted, and I think actually probably appreciates that long dormancy period. All right, here it is in April 2023. Looks like I have a few more wires on the tree. Here it is in May 2023. I did a little bit of work on the tree. I think I took off some more branches, just a little bit of pruning. But at this point, I still didn't really have a clear vision of what I wanted to do with the tree. I remember working on it and not really knowing what to do and how to make it look more like a miniature tree. So this definitely, I set out to create this tree. I did not know what I was doing. All right, and so I thought about it a lot that summer. And so here's where I took some major steps, and finally the vision for the tree developed. So here it is in July of 2023. And I remember I obsessed over this decision about, I kind of felt like I should prune the bottom branches of the tree. I think that would make it look better and just show off the trunk a little bit more. And so I obsessed over it. I remember I took a picture of it, and then I played around in GIMP, which is free Photoshop, with what would happen if I took the bottom branches off. So that is what I did sometime in the summer of 2023. I pruned off the bottom branches and didn't prune them off flush. I created gin, and then used those gin as anchors for guy wires to the new bottom branches to get those pointed downwards. And I put a wire around the pot and to create another guy wire. So this is kind of like its heavy orthodontic stage of the tree. And I also experimented with the potting angle, of course, as you can see in this picture, and decided, I do want to tilt the potting angle a little bit. And so this is actually showing what was then I considered to be the front of the tree. But then after doing the work, here's the same photo session in July 2023. This is actually the back of the tree, but this is where I'm realizing, hey, you know what? I like this front better. And I found that with many of my trees that I have a front pick for the tree, And then after working on it, you realize, you know, actually I like this front better, or I like this potting angle. That seems to be pretty, you know, what most people do actually with their bonsai. Their trees, as they evolve, they realize it'd look better if I did this, or potted it in this, or did this. Let's see, we're to September 2023 with this picture. Nothing much is changing, but this again just shows, you know, how many wires I had on this tree. And basically all these wires are just making the branches grow downwards rather than upwards, which is how they want to grow naturally. In 2024, this is April 2024, so a big change. As you can see, the pot changed. I remember at the time when I first put the tree in this pot, I thought, wow, this tree, it looks so good in this pot, this green glazed pot. And I love the color of that pot. And yeah, I just thought it was the perfect pot for the tree. And then again, as it evolved, I thought, man, this pot, it looks terrible in this pot. I hate this pot for this tree. And so I changed my mind, had a major change of mind with the pot. And actually I was really relieved over the winter of 2024. That pot, the green pot, it cracked and broke. It's just a cheap pot, so it's not surprising that it couldn't withstand frost. So it broke, and I was actually relieved that it broke. so I got this cheap pot from Bonsai Outlet. I knew I wanted an unglazed pot. I knew this one was a little bit big for the tree, but I want a pot that the tree could grow into, and I kind of overpot my trees a little bit intentionally often because I just feel like it's easier to take care of the tree. I unwired it. It's not wired in this picture, and so I know I did wire it again eventually. But the branches do set pretty well on these after you wire them for a while. So they kind of creep up, but they set a lot better, at least than my Dwarf Alberta spruce, I can tell you that. All right, so here it is this spring in 2025. And this is the now definite front of the tree. What used to originally be the back of the tree is now the front. And one thing I did do, you can see a change here, is I took off this. There was a big gin right here, right there. And it's still there. It's just much more subdued. And I really like it better without that gin. I do love these other smaller gins that I have on here. I think they look great. So anyways, there you have it. One more picture, that's right. So I had this tree I wanted to mention, cuttings. These root really well from cutting. I'm almost sure this is not grafted, almost completely sure. So I'm sure they just took a cutting and rooted it, and that's where this tree came from. So you can do the same thing. On its initial styling, I cut off a branch of this tree and just stuck it in my garden box. No rooting hormone, nothing. So I must have did that in the spring. And this cutting has rooted, and I put in this pot. I wired it, and you know, it's a simple little tree, but I'm pretty excited to develop this tree as well. So there you have it. That is the progression of this tree over 3 years, and I am very happy with this result. I'm very proud of this creation, and if there's enough time in this video, maybe I'll work on it later in this video, or we'll just save it for like a part 2, where I'm just gonna prune the pads up a little bit on this tree and show you what I'm doing now to style this tree. Until next time, happy bonsai.